Hey folks, Jeff Gonzalez with Trident Concepts, and today I'm here to do another fanny pack gear review. Today's gear review is going to be the Bando bag. So I really like this bag. First impression, really digging it, right? I like how they kind of use the bandolier to add to this. That's what the Bando comes from, the bandolier, which, back in the day, we used the bandoliers for all sorts of crazy stuff. And so, that kind of made sense. I like the idea. I like their approach, their thought process. So I'm digging it. When I pulled it out of the pack, man, I really was impressed. There were some features that were innovative that I'm giving them huge props about. We'll talk about them in just a second. There's some features that you're used to seeing, and then some things that I was just like disappointed to see. So my overall first impression, loved it. Let's talk about some basic features. All right, so it comes in two different sizes. The regular size is going to fit your micro compacts, your subcompacts. Compacts are going to be super tight if you have an optic on there. I think even without the optic, it's still tight, but with an optic on there, it's tight. Then there's the XL, and the XL is easily going to fit the compact and a full-size pistol. You got 6 different colors, so consumers can go, with whatever floats their boat. Price point is great. It's in between that $40 to $60 range, which I think is ideal. The pack itself has 3 compartments. The main compartment, which is where the handgun is going to be stored, is the closest to the body, and it literally is right up against your torso. It's accessed through that zipper pull method. It's got a nice size Velcro patch that allows you to put the modular holsters on there. I'm using a Crossbreed, modular holster, which I love. I think that works out great for these off-body carry scenarios. It doesn't have a strap, which, to be honest, I don't think it needs one. Moving to the accessory pouch. The accessory pouch, again, is accessed by a zipper. And then inside here, you've got 2 slip pockets, which are nice to fit, some other accessories. And it has an internal mesh pocket, which can really fit, some small things like gloves, ear probe, maybe some cash, credit cards. But here's another innovative design that they had, which was it was an elastic sleeve on the lid of that accessory pouch. And what that allowed you to do was, insert a tourniquet and have it really kind of convenient. The nice thing about that is it's the first time I've seen that, in like an actual design. I've seen some where you can attach them on the outside, and I think that's okay, but I'm not going to put the tourniquet on the outside because it's kind of telegraphing what's inside the bag. But I like this, and what I would say is that elastic loop can be a little looser because it secured that tourniquet so well that it was hard to get it out. Especially once the gun was already pulled out, it was really hard to get out at that point. So maybe a little less tension on that elastic strap. The outside pocket was a small zipper pouch, and you can put in there maybe a wallet. You can put in there maybe a smaller cell phone. I have an iPhone 15 Pro, and it's in a rugged case, and it just doesn't fit in there. But I have an iPhone 12 with more of a slimline case, and it fit in there fine. So you can get some phones in there, but just not all of them, unfortunately. Other features that it had that I really digged, it had a closed loop belt system, which I love. Basically what that means, there's no bitter end, no flap, straps flapping in the wind and all that other business, which, it's a pain in my ass. I hate having to roll them up and stick them inside those keepers because they never stay, first of all. This closed loop system is great. About the only bad thing I have to say about it is that if it doesn't have enough link to accommodate your body style or your carry method, like over the shoulder, then it could suck. But they have an extension that they include that you just snap into the Fastech buckles, and it gives you a pretty decent amount of length at that point. So it kind of solves that problem. So really happy with that. I mean, those are some innovative features. The other thing that I really liked about this bag was that it had the preformed zipper pulls, which kind of use a fishhook technique. So you just take your index finger or whatever finger you want to use, just kind of get it inside that preformed ring, and then you just pull the zippers. I dig that. I think it's great. If you look at their entire line, they really have kind of like crack that code when you're out in the wilderness, you're out in the wild, you're camping, you're hunting, whatever the case might be, your hands are cold, you're wearing gloves. Those preformed zippers are going to be super easy to get to. Are they the best for trying to get access to a gun quickly? In the zipper pull method they're using them at, not in my opinion, unfortunately. So some really nice things, some innovative thoughts, I thought. But overall, I really, really like this pack. Let's talk about the problems, though. So that's the good. Let's talk about the bad. And there are 3 big problems. The first problem was, again, zipper pull method. At this point in this project, I've played with enough fanny packs that use the zipper pull method that at first I was hopeful that we would find one that would be able to hold its own against the ripcord method. It's just not going to happen. If you're using the zipper pull method, you're just going to have to accept that you're always going to be slower than the ripcord method. All right, and more importantly, you're always going to be struggling to get a consistent firing grip, which is where I think the speed really comes into the equation. So the zipper pull method, the faster and the harder I pulled, the more problems I created. The other thing that you run into is that in this case with this bag, I had to open that zipper about 75%, 3/4 of the way, to gain good consistent access. That's a lot of extra time and a lot of extra movement. I just don't think it's worth it. I think there's better ways to do this. The other problem that I had was zipper snagging. So like I said, that main gun compartment sits really close to your torso, like literally right up against your torso, which is one of the things that I like about the bag because it doesn't look like a gun bag. It just the way they designed that, how they put that feature in there made it very low key in that sense. So the bad news is that my cover garment was getting sucked into the zipper, and I tried, I tucked my shirt in, I tightened my shirt up, and excuse me, just because of that proximity of where that zipper is, it's a potential issue, right? And to me, that's an automatic failure, because not only did it happen during my dry fire, but it happened during the live fire. Out of the 10 attempts during the baseline cold test, it happened 1 time. So that's a 10% failure rate. And I know that's not terrible. I mean, a lot of people would love to have a 90% success rate, but when that zipper got caught on my shirt, it usually got caught in a way that I could not get into the bag at all. And to clear it, everybody at one point has zipped up something inside of a zipper, and it's a pain in the ass to try to undo that. So you realize that, okay, once that happens, I'm not getting into that pack. I'm not getting into that gun compartment. It's just not going to happen unless it happened all the way on this side, which it really didn't. It always happened right here on this side. So that was a problem. Then the other problem was with the reloads. And the issue that I had was the slip pockets are kind of like designed to put your mag pouches in there your magazines in there. And the problem is that they're sloppy. They're like putting it in a back pocket. They're going to move all over the place. And unfortunately, they're not a consistent grip. In fact, not only did I had a magazine that actually fell flat into the slip pocket, but I also had a magazine that fell out of the slip pocket and was just laying inside of that accessory pouch. And those are all problems, right? I know that I'm probably not going to have to do a reload, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to do a really good reload. And I definitely don't want to do a reload that takes forever and potentially could cost me in the outcome. So I want to do a reload smoothly, quickly, and get back in the fight if I have to. So that was another issue. Now, because I wanted to eliminate, or as much as possible mitigate me being the problem in all of these observations, I put a lot of dry fire time into this. So for about 15 to 20 minutes daily for about 3 weeks, which is about 300 plus hours, I dry fired before all of this, before I went to the range to do any live fire. So I had a pretty good amount of experience under my belt as far as the operation. And when I got to the range, it was great. I always gonna love going to the range, especially here in this case, because it's an experiment. What's gonna happen? I don't know. I have a theory. Let's test the theory. So in this case, as I went live fire, I was, happy with the outcome because the outcome is a good outcome, but it just could have been so much better. And this is what I discovered. The faster I tried to go, the faster I tried to undo that zipper pouch, the more likely I was to get a bad grip. And that bad grip just, some people were asking about the cold test, why we do it a certain way, why at the 10-yard lines? Well, because it eliminates the lucky shots at the 7. And then why the multiple rounds? Because you can fire one round with a really crappy grip, but trying to fire multiple rounds with a crappy grip, you're going to see in the accuracy performance. So those are the reasons why. And I saw it myself. I saw problems with that. So, the faster I went, the more likely I was to get a bad grip, the more likely I was to get bad shots. So, that's kind of like logical. It's common sense. Doesn't surprise anybody, but it was frustrating. But even then, it still performed pretty decent. The average first shot came in at 3.01, and then the total time for all 3 shots was 4:54. So okay, that's pretty good. But when you compare it against the ESS Survival Pack, which is currently in the top position on the cold test, it was 2:50 with a 3:06 total time. So I mean that's a pretty significant gap there, and I mean I think you can make up some of that gap. I think you can make it up with some of the recommendations. And so I would like to see that because I honestly think this Bando bag could be the top contender for fanny packs. All right, so then after the live fire, let's talk about ranking. Like I said, it came in a solid second place in the shooting performance, which, believe it or not, gave it a really good standing. It had so many positives on the other criterion that it was in close contention. And as it stands, it's tied for first place. So 22 out of 30 points were awarded. That's a 73. And like I said, if I could get a little bit better shooting performance out of this, it will be the top contender bag, fanny pack. So, super happy about that. Let's talk about recommendations. First recommendation, and I break this down into mission essential, mission critical, mission enhancing. I'm not going to talk about mission enhancing because honestly, manufacturers are probably not going to spend the time and the money to actually do the mission enhancing stuff. But I believe mission critical and mission essential they really should consider. So mission critical, what are we talking about here? The first thing is the orientation of the zipper for the accessory pouch. There were 3 zipper pulls all in close proximity, and on more than one occasion I grabbed the wrong one. So if I were to take the zipper and reverse it, so instead of pulling from right to left, I'm going left to right, that would mean that when I'm grabbing the zipper pulls to open the main gun compartment, I have 1/3 less zipper pulls to grab, and I think that's worth it. I really do. Second mission critical is going to be inside the slip pockets to put some elastic straps that would secure the magazine so they are more, I'm getting a more consistent grip. I think that's totally worth it. In fact, you could bar tack those, split them in half, and now you can put either 2 magazines or 2 other heavy objects in there, and I think it would secure very well. So that's mission critical. Mission essential has to do with the zipper pull method. Looking at their line, it makes sense why they have that particular preformed zipper pull. But I think what they could do is on the inside, on the upper left and right corners of the lid of the main compartment, they could sew in bar tack some 550 cord loops so that the consumer can make the choice. Do I want to go with the zipper pull or do I want to use the ripcord method? If I want to go with the ripcord method, I undo the girth hitched zipper pulls that are on the zippers and put them on the 550 cord. And now I have access to a ripcord method. And I think once you get to the ripcord method, that thing is going to fly. I think it's going to do a really, really good job. So mission critical, mission essential. I really think they should do that. All right, folks, you got questions or comments? Post them down below. Your experience with the Bando bag, I'd also love to hear. Until next time, I'm Jeff Gonzalez. Stay safe or be dangerous. Adios.